This conference will now be recorded.
So please remind if I just forgot to do this in my coming sessions also. So if you see, whenever you write any method, so the reason of writing a method is nothing but that should be used by someone, right? So, but if you make as an abstract, so as there is no logic in it, so who is going to use that and who is going to write the logic for that? So a class that extends an abstract class, that is required to override the method. So in general case, before it is not that. So before, whenever you do the overriding of a normal class, that inheritance overriding is not mandatory, but it is true it overriding is mandatory in case of abstract. Take a class something like any real-time example I'm trying to think it. So assume that I was taking a class called Airport Info. So this I'm making it as an abstract class. I just want to make this class as an abstract class. So where I'll make some of the methods as an abstract method, and there is a classes that implements this abstract methods. So I just want to know what are the available flights. So get flights, current flights in the airport or something else. This will be my abstract method. Okay. So I'm just taking it as a string. So generally it will be a flights data type. I need to make the class as abstract. So why you need this abstract thing is nothing but, so for example, you want to develop an application, something where like how you have like a ticketing app, right? So which is for the flights. So whenever a user selects that information, for example, the user selects from source to destination, he need to get that available flights. Or whenever he selects, okay, for this particular flight airport, what are the flights that come, so whatever it may be. So I'm just not going very deeper. But as an example I'm taking it. So whenever you want to develop some kind of app or something which will tell what are the flights available, what are the source and destinations which will be coming for the flights, and what are the like lot of things. So main thing that you want to know what are the flights available and what are the timings. So this information you want to know it from the app, right? So even you cannot get that, right? Even you cannot have an authority to interact with the database of flights database. So flights airport have a separate system, right? You are developing an application which is separate, so you cannot directly interact with them, right? So what you need to do, these people will provide an API for you, so which is okay, this is the API, this is a method available at our place, so you just use this to get that information. So that's what your API or abstract has a usage. So when you go for abstract class is nothing but whenever you know some of the methods and you do not know some of the methods logic. But when you go for interface, it is like you do not know any method logic, you go for interface. Okay, I have a method like get fly things and abstract string get timing, something like get flights timing, some methods. Okay. So I can have some concrete methods also. I want to provide get airport details as an non-abstract method. So which will return, okay, this belongs to airport name, some, it is some, something like any Gandhi airport or something, anything. You can print a lot of details. As of now I'm just printing like it is going to return that airport details, so that they do not want to make it as an abstraction, so that everyone can able to view the details of an airport, so they will just make it as a non-abstract method. So when you go for this abstract, because you know for some of the methods you do not provide the logic, so this will be exposing it to the application, so that app they want to do, right? So this logic, who is going to write this logic for get current flight or get flight timings, will be a class that extends this airport info, will be writing the logic for this. I have a class called airport information, which extends airport info. So here, which is a mandatory thing here, overriding of two methods. Your get flights, get timings methods information is nothing. Overriding this is nothing but mandatory. Okay, so if you are not trying to override any one of the method, it will throw me an error. So because overriding of, if your abstract method is having 10 methods, so the class that implements your abstract class should override all the 10 methods. If you're not overriding any one of the method, you should make that other class also an abstract class. Otherwise, you should override it. So if you're writing it as a normal class. So, but in the, if it is not an abstract class, that is not the case, right? Here, overriding of every method is mandatory. Because this is the class is the one which is going to write the logic for the abstract methods. So it may return that current flight details and all this. Something they can return. Okay, you generally will have a main method in some separate class, some driver class or some class where you will have the main method. So but as of now I'm just writing it in here itself. So here what I'll do, so generally you'll not call this methods from the current class, you'll be calling it from the different class. So I can able to create this, can I create a airport info object? I cannot, but I can make this as a reference, and I can create an object of here. So your abstract, your parent can hold the child, so you cannot create an object, but you can able to hold with this in the left side. So I can call info dot get current. So this methods I can able to call. So you're not printing this, that's the reason you are not getting any, nothing is shown in the output. Okay, is it clear on abstraction, abstract concept?
Hey, can you explain line number 19 once again? Because I
Okay.
see that it is, yeah, because airport info is class, parent class, right? And
Yes.
airport information is child class. So we are creating a child class object and assigning it to parent class
Not like assigning, you can
variable.
you can consider it as yes, you can consider it as your uh, parent class can be hold your child object. Parent,
Okay,
so here generally what we do, so generally what is an what you do, I'll have an airport information, that's what we have seen, airport information I'll have. So some, and I'll create an object and I'll hold with the airport information. This is what we have seen from like previous examples. So you, whenever
correct.
you create an object, so that object will be held by the current. So the class name, a reference variable, and new keyword. Yes, this is what we have seen it, right? So, but here this is nothing but what is this? What is this in? Generally, like in or info is nothing but a reference variable which will hold your object. Am I right?
Correct.
So, so who can hold my object? The current class, the present class can hold the object, as well as the parent class also can hold the object.
Okay,
So we
so
have this,
you mean to say
the
that,
concept is like dynamic binding. We'll see that. I'll just tell it more thing in inheritance also. So as of now, you can understand like it is parent has the thing to hold your child object hash code also, a reference also.
okay, okay,
Okay, you are asking something? Sorry.
No, Surya.
Okay. So this is called your dynamic binding actually. So this you call it as compile time. Whatever the part that you do, this is like at your compile time, and this is like your run time. Okay. So we'll see more clearly on this. Fine. So you can do this, but what is the problem with this is nothing but, for example, there is some other class that extends your airport info, right? Other than airport information. So then you cannot have that reference, right? So when you make it as a parent reference, runtime, any objects can be created. Okay, that is like your dynamic binding. We'll see more. Whenever it comes to an interface, so whenever I have an interface, as I told you, in interface you cannot able to write a normal methods, sorry. Whenever you write an interface, that interface should have only abstract methods. Apart from abstract methods, you cannot write any other methods in interface. Okay, someone want to ask something? So same way, who is going to provide the logic for interface? So the class that implements. Here for an abstract class, there will be a class that extends. For interface, there will be a class that implements. So I'm just taking RBI, just like a Reserve Bank of India, which is like head of all the banks in the India, right? So where it will provide some specifications, like what are the specifications? Like you, whenever anyone want to establish a bank, either it may be HDFC or IDBI. So someone, even I want to establish a bank, like even the some people are coming that. So whenever they want to establish a bank, so they need to follow some protocol, right? A bank should have some rules, like for example, if you are trying to establish a bank and if you will not provide a withdraw functionality, is it acceptable? No, right? And if you do not provide a deposit functionality, is it acceptable? No, right? So that there are some mandatory functionalities that you need to be provided, that will be given in the specification. Like your interface is just like a specification. So any person that they want to do that implementation, even want to establish a bank, they will implement that specification, and the logic is not you need to write the same. You can write your own logic, right? It will not, RBI will not tell that okay, the person should do that withdraw of 10,000, 20,000. No, as per your like thing, like requirement or the locality, you can make that requirement. But having that functionality, the withdraw functionality is a mandatory that your RBI forces. Okay, so it can have some extra functionalities also, that does not matter, right? So but having that withdraw and deposit, I'm taking it as a main functionalities. So I'm just taking withdraw. So what is this method? Abstract. So is it not required to declare me an abstract method? So if I declare an abstract method, or if I don't declare an abstract method, does not make any difference. Why? Because all the methods in the interfaces are by default abstract and public. Okay. So now I have both. So but whenever you write an interface, it is required you to write an abstract keyword. If you do not write an abstract keyword, it throw an error, because even your abstract class can have a normal method. So that's the reason this abstract keyword is mandatory. But in case of your interface thing, that abstract keyword is not mandatory by default. If the method is an abstract method, because you cannot write a normal methods. So for example, if I'm trying to write a normal concrete method, it will show me an error stating that abstract method does not specify a body. So by default, the method that you write in interface, it is taking it as an abstract method. Okay. So who is going? I'm just taking an example of HDFC or some bank. What it has to do. So for an interface, it needs to do implements. So whenever it does the implementation, you see what is that error? Overriding of the two methods. So add unimplemented methods. So you can like as a person, you can just do with the drop and just giving a logic per day. Some 50,000 they can withdraw. Just I'm just giving a per day, like you can withdraw, one person can able to withdraw only 15,000. When it comes to deposit, one lakh. So this is the law rule for a HDFC bank. So it will not be the same for some other bank, right? So I'm creating one more bank called IDBI. But overriding of that methods is mandatory in the both the cases, like withdraw and deposit. That logic inside is not forced by RBI. Some it can able to give 30,000 only. So it will give the deposit of 50,000 only, which is that functionality is there, but the logic will be different. Okay. So I'll create a driver class where I have a main method. So bank some class I created it as a bank IMPL something where I'll have a method. Okay. So here what I'll do, I will do I'll be calling the different logics present in this HDFC as well as IDBI. So if you do not override any one of the method, it will throw me an error. Overriding of the two methods is mandatory. Why? Because there are two methods available. If it is having 10 methods, overriding of 10 methods is mandatory. So you can have some extra methods like your HDFC want to provide what I mean to say, which is not required for a bank, but it is their option. Something like uh, so it is like they just want to give HDFC Bank want to give gifts for a customer. So they want to give gifts for a customer who has some CIBIL score, or they are with a very good customer, so which is maintaining it for long time. So they just want to do a withdraw and do the gift. So some thing they need to do. So like this is not given by an RBI. So RBI will not tell that okay, you need to give a customers gifts and all. So this functionality may not be there for IDBI. IDBI do not want to do that fun things. If you want, you can tell any other thing that is specific to the bank, but which is not mandatory, which other bank does not require to be followed. So then it will do this implementation. But withdraw and getting the loans, so this which are the mandatory things will be done by any bank. In future, some access comes. In future, some uh, any other Y bank, S bank comes. Whatever the bank, so this functionality will be there for it. Okay. So for example, if I want to call a withdraw method which is present in HDFC, so what I need to do, I need to create an HDFC object. Am I sure? So HDFC dot HDFC equals to new HDFC. Okay, and I will be calling HDFC dot withdraw. Okay, so but here can I call here I cannot call IDBI method right here because I created HDFC bank object. So here it is only specific to HDFC. I cannot call an IDBI methods, or I cannot do the IDBI functionality. Why? Because the object here it's HDFC. So this you call it as compile time polymorphism. I'll tell. Or you can call compile time polymorphism, or you can tell this as a static binding, that is more specific. The same thing when I create an IDBI object. Yeah. So what I'll do, I'll just hold with IDBI, and what I can do, I can call only IDBI methods, so which will call a withdraw which is present in the IDBI. Even what is this? This is also your static binding. So can I create an IDBI object and can I hold with HDFC? Can I do like this? Can I do like this? Anyone? Otherwise, can I create HDFC object and hold with IDBA? What happened? Anyone? What happened? Can you hear me or?
Yeah, Surya, we can hear you.
Okay.
Surya,
So, sorry.
I have one. Please, just
Mm.
give me. Bank EMP is a disconnect class. We haven't extended, we haven't implemented. Why we are able
Which one?
to bank EMP, the class which we are seeing currently, bank IMP.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's just in a class, but we haven't implemented and we haven't extended. Why we are able, how we are able to create an object for HDFC Bank and IDBI Bank in this current class?
Yes. So here, this is in the some present in the same package, right?
Oh,
So
oh,
even the access specified is public, so I can create it. So why I have taken it as a bank IMPL is nothing but so here, which is a class which will implement, which will do not the implementation. It is like a driver class. Okay, I'll change the rename into bank. Otherwise, it is not may not be IMPL. Refactor it and rename it. It's like a driver where you have a main method. So for example, from somewhere I need to call the method, right? So that method. So generally in real time, it will call from the front end or somewhere. So as here an example, I want to write a main method. So that's the reason I just taken it as a bank driver or some method. Okay. So why
okay.
you cannot access, that is an access specifier concept, right? Because it is here. What is this method? This is a public method. So public here. So a class is also public. The same thing with the public. So whenever it is public, it can be accessible.
Okay. So now you created one class for the driver class to access all the classes which are present in the current package by using
Yes.
the okay access specifier concept. Okay, I got it. Thank you. Guru.
Okay. So my question, can I do like this? Can I create a IDBI bank object and can I hold with HDFC?
Mm.
So generally I can do HDFC bank, I can create and it can hold with HDFC.
Maybe
No, I
no.
cannot. Yes,
We are
no, it
not
will be no.
implementing that particular classes in this class.
Yes. So there is no, actually there is no relationship between your HDFC and IDBI, right? So as I told you, your parent can hold your child. So is there HDFC and IDBI are like parent-child kind of relationship? No, right? So there
No
is
relation.
nothing relationship between your HDFC as well as IDBI, so that you cannot do it.
Oh
Okay,
yeah.
that there is a mismatch. Your IDBI object cannot be held by your HDFC object. Okay, but I
Mm.
can do it in the other way. Like I can have an RBI as a reference, which can hold the HDFC bank object. Yes,
Yes.
this is possible.
Yeah.
Which can hold IDBI object,
Yeah.
any object. So in future also, if some bank comes, if Access comes, or if it's some Yes Bank comes, whatever the bank comes, if I made my left side reference as a RBI. So any object can be holded. So that is the reason this will be done. So because this object generally you are doing it in hard coded, but in real time it will not be the case. At runtime, the objects will be passed. So these things, creating with IDBI or creating with HDFC, this you call it as dynamic binding. I'll explain why you are calling this as a dynamic binding. So both things, whatever you do, this both are nothing but your dynamic bindings. Okay, so until why I'm calling that as a static binding, why I'm calling this as a dynamic binding. So here there are both things like whatever, something will happen at compile time and something will happen at runtime. I'll show. So this dynamic concept, binding concept is very important for all the things whichever you use in Java. So these are the two things I have. I have an HDFC. So if I do HDFC, some HDFC equals to new. So I have a withdraw method in two places. One is at HDFC, one more is at RBI. Am I right? So what I'm telling, if I do like this and if I call HDFC dot withdraw, this is my static binding I'm calling. I'll just spend give the what I mean to say justification why I'm calling this as a static binding. 1 minute, my charging is going down. Okay, there are two things here. So I'm calling this is nothing but my static binding, right? So this happens at compile time. Whatever you see at left side is happens at compile time. Whenever you do any programming, there are two things, right? One is at compiling and one is at running, right? So this is at runtime. Write it more clearly. So this happens at compile time and this happens at runtime. So what is the compile time? Which is going to check it your syntactical errors or any issues that happens, will be checking it by your compile time, and if any what object that will be created seen at your runtime. So when you see HDFC, which is nothing but your which having the HDFC reference. So when you call with withdraw, what happens? It is going to, your compiler is going to check whether withdraw method present in the HDFC or not. Why it is going to check it which is present at HDFC or not? Because you have made the reference of HDFC. So what happens at compile time, your method is going to bind with the withdraw method that is present in the HDFC. There is no relationship between RBI as of now, right? So this happens at compile time. Okay, so at runtime, what object you created? You created HDFC object. So now what happens? Withdraw method, where it will execute? It will execute the withdraw method which is present in the HDFC. Okay. So the same, whatever it got binded at a compile time, the same method executes at the runtime. Okay. So if you see, there is no change from compile time to runtime. Okay, so whatever the method that got binded at compile time, the same method got executed at runtime. So that is that is the reason you call this as static binding. So whatever the method that you compiled it, binded at compile time, the same method got executed at runtime. So that that is a reason. If you write like this, you are calling it as static binding. So now you can able to tell why I'm calling this as runtime binding or runtime polymorphism. So if I create an RBI object, so I'll write RBI equals to new HDFC. Okay, so what I'll do, I'll call RBI dot withdraw. So the same thing, left side is a compile time and right side is nothing but your runtime. So now what happens, whenever you call RBI dot withdraw, which method it will bind? It will bind with withdraw in HDFC or withdraw in RBI. Left side is having RBI, right? So it will bind with RBI, sorry, withdraw which is present in the RBI. Sorry, it went like this. So this happens at compile time. So which method it gets executed? For what object you created, that method gets executed. You created which object? You created HDFC object. So then which method executes? withdraw present in the HDFC. So you see this happens at runtime. So you see there is a change from a compile time to runtime. So that is the reason you call it as dynamic binding. So the whatever the method that got binded at compile time, that method got unbinded and executed the method which is present in the withdraw. So that is the reason you call this as runtime polymorphism or runtime binding, and this you call it as static binding or static polymorphism. Is it clear? Right. What happened? Okay, you just go through the video session also. We'll see if any queries tomorrow. Okay, I'll wind up the session. Thank you.
Thank you, Sulu.